We mentioned Ohio State. They are in the AP poll. Take whatever stock you want in that. They are the number one team in the country, traveling to Washington this week. I feel like this number should be a little bit wider. Maybe the market giving some respect to the Huskies. Only an 8.5-point dog. And maybe Damon Williams, who's number 2 behind Jaden Mayava in EPA per dropback. Maybe the Huskies with Coleman and that running game could keep this one close.
This is one of those scary moments where, you always see this in college football over the years, where you have kind of the fish out of water game where all of a sudden the team goes somewhere. Like it was a million years ago when, Nebraska went to like Arizona State late night and Jake Plummer, and all of a sudden went off, and Nebraska, this high-powered team, couldn't get a first down. And it might just be one of those games where almost like Alabama, Florida State, where you go someplace crazy, the Husky Stadium's going to be insane, that crowd's going to be wild, and all of a sudden a couple bad plays here and there, and this is not the right day. The thing that I'm a believer that don't mess with a streak when it comes to college football. Ryan Day doesn't lose these games. When Ryan Day loses, it's national championships. It's to Michigan. I think there's only one game in the Ryan Day era where he's lost to anybody who didn't end up with at least 11 wins or so. So, he wins all the games like this. So start with the idea that Ohio State's probably going to win. I don't love the 8.5, but I'm going to go with it, and I'd give them a little bit more. I'm just going to, until I see otherwise, I'm going to stick with Ohio State.
Yeah, Washington was the other Big Ten team I thought was a little bit undervalued. Again, it's
Very
tough
much.
Maybe to gauge the market on these West Coast Big Ten teams as they travel east and then travel back west. And I thought 7.5. I mean, listen, Damon Williams and Jonah Coleman. Not a lot of teams in the country have a quarterback-running back duo on that level. That's pretty solid.
And it's interesting you say that, by the way, because that's something to mark for going forward with USC, because USC went to Purdue, went back home, had that late-night game that ended up finished at 3 a.m. East Coast time against Michigan State, which they had to try at the end. They got to fly back over to Champaign, Illinois. They're going back to L.A., and then they're going back out to South Bend. So I don't care who you are, and I know these guys are, they're not exactly luxury traveling, but, you're traveling a lot if you're USC over the next few weeks. So let's see if those body blows start to add up a little bit, because that does kind of mess with you a little bit.
I agree. I think both Washington and USC will go over 7.5 wins, but I think Ohio State. Here's the wild card. Julian Saint's first road start, and he hasn't been tested yet. I know that game against Texas was, a good win, but he didn't really do much in that game. He just kind of went through the motions. This will be a fun test. I'm excited to see Ohio State in this. First of all, it's
I think
their
defense shows up. I like the
Agreed.
defense will keep it close. I mean, there's some crazy stat. I think take out they've allowed 17 points or fewer in an obnoxious amount of games over the last 2.5 years. Their D is just that good, and they've had time. They're rested up. I think they're ready to go. And let's see. To go back to your Heisman thing. Let's see we need more players on big stages to do stuff, because that's when you get into a Heisman stage. Because like you said, is Mendoza going to win the Heisman? No, probably not. But everyone saw it, so all of a sudden ooh, Heisman. Why? Because they watched the game.
Yeah.
When you don't watch, you kind of you blow off these players. But that's it. It's a popularity contest. So let's see if Jeremiah Smith has this game where he goes off in front of people, or let's see if Sane goes off, or let's see who's going to be the star coming out of this.
That's a good point on Jeremiah Smith, because that's the one guy I haven't heard mentioned. I've heard a lot of Mendoza. I've heard a lot of Beck. I have some Beck. I haven't heard anyone talk about Jeremiah Smith.
Well, and it gets lost. Last year, he was good. He was steady good throughout last year, but everyone saw the Rose Bowl and was like, oh my gosh, this guy's Jerry Rice and Terrell Owens all wrapped up in a bun. And he was good, but he had the one monster game. He wasn't that good all season long, and he was great, but again, he didn't have those types of games. He had the one game everyone saw, and now everyone wants to give him the Heisman. So that's how this Heisman thing works.